Hey girlfriend, what's up? That's what happens. You get some coffee into your system. Yay! Too much coffee. You ever had Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee? It's like $60 a pound. You ever had Jamaican Blue Mountain? It's awesome. That's some awesome coffee. Here we have the X-H2. One thing I was certain of, and I said this in videos, of course I've got proof of this, that there's no way Fujifilm is ever going to kill off or combine their lines, like, merge the XT series and the XH series into one. It's already been confirmed that in 2021 they'll come out with the X-H2. This is the X-H1, which is currently like a best value camera. There's no reason to ever get rid of the X-H1. Even over that of the new X-T4, this has a couple neat advantages. There's actually a 5-point suspension on the shutter mech, and there's also a leaf spring. Yeah, I didn't say leaf shutter, a leaf spring in the shutter release. And that, of course, is going to go in the X-H2. At the very earliest, they could announce it at the end of this year. That's pure speculation on the X-H2. It's like, hey, we're going to come out with the X-H2 March of 2021. Extremely unlikely. Most people have said, and a couple people apparently confirmed, that the X-H2 will come out next year. One thing I can tell you for certain, there's no reason to make a video without saying something new and important, that I'm 99.99, I'm basically 100% certain that this is a sensor that's going to go into the X-H2 for next year. It's the Sony IMX671AQR. It's the 43 megapixel DX sensor from Sony. Right now they're churning out who knows how many thousands and thousands of those sensors. It'll go into various camera platforms, including undeniably so. And it's a BSI sensor. CMOS, yeah, pixel pitch, yeah, diagonal. Anyways, the IMX671AQR is 43 megapixel DX. Kind of like a comparison between the 51 megapixel GFX 50S and 50R, which I have, versus the 102 megapixel GFX 100, which I also happen to have. As I've said before, if you can't crucify it, the shot, meaning, with 51 megapixels in medium format, then you can't do it with 102 megapixels in medium format. It will, of course, undeniably so be the case that we can make the bold statement that if you can't nail the shot with 26 megapixels on the current XT3, XT4 sensor, yada yada yada, X Pro 3, you can't nail it with 43 megapixels of a BSI sensor. Don't know anything about the dynamic range, whatnot. One thing that the X-H2 will be that the X-H1 wasn't, and as I stated this before, the X-H1 was actually a sleeper. When it came out, everybody that, grunts and moans about camera technology were saying, oh, this is a slap in the face because the XT3, the XT2, came out immediately afterwards, and it had more video features and this and that, and everybody complained, and then people realized how great the X-H1 was, and then the X-H1 sold like hotcakes, and now they're selling for what, right at $1,000, including the vertical grip. I think that sale is still going on this camera. A lot of people bought that off my recommendation lately. They're so very happy. They love to email me and tell me how happy they are with their X-H1 Fujifilm camera. So Fujifilm won't make that. It wasn't a mistake. It was only a mistake from the perspective of people that grunt and moan about spec sheets. Really, it's people that grunt and moan about spec sheets because the X-H1 is a perfect camera. There's no such thing as a perfect camera. I mean, it is a perfect camera. The Ergo is what a lot of people wanted on the Ergos, and everybody's waiting on the X-H2, and I keep getting emails every day. What about the X-H2? What about the... Okay, X-H2, 2021, it's this sensor, the IMX671AQR, 43 megapixels of BSI. By the way, the full-frame version is going to go into a bunch of Nikons and whatnot, probably their new Z8. The Z8 Nikon next year. It's the same sensor scaled up for full frame. It's 61.4 megapixels of BSI FX sensor. That's the IMX 455 AQR sensor. I mean, the X-H1 was, you know, the first Fujifilm camera with IBIS. You know, had the wonderful DSLR ergos that everybody had, that loved. They did incorporate one thing that everybody really loved in the X-H1 was the extremely silent shutter mech sound testing side by side of the X-H1. Shows the new X-T4. By the way, I pre-ordered the X-T4. I can't wait to get my hands on the X-T4. I noticed there's some people that were chirping, squawking about the fact that it's the same sensor in the X-T4 as is found in the X-T3. That's not a point at all. A camera is not a sensor. The video is vastly improved on the X-T4. A lot of things vastly improved on the X-T4. Faster, refresh rate, bigger battery, IBIS mech, extremely low price for what it is. I mean, that's ridiculous. It will have better capabilities, even though it's a crop sensor. Most hardcore sports action wildlife photography is done with a crop sensor anyway, I will frigging remind you. For $1,700 essentially, a way better camera than a $6,000 Nikon D5. I mean, the Nikon, there's nobody chirping about the Nikon D5 not doing its job for the Olympics. The Olympics this year may be canceled. Nobody knows yet because of the coronavirus stuff. But anyway, it was developed for that, a vastly souped-up X-T3. But enough about the X-T4, which I got pre-ordered and a lot of other people have pre-ordered. That's what the X-H2 will be. Who knows? To be certain, actually to be 100% certain, what will go in the X-H2, other than this 43 megapixel BSI sensor, will be all the performance capabilities of that of the X-T4, which is going to drop. They might have pushed the X-T4 to mid-May, supposedly, rumors are. If not late April, which is what it's announced for. Either way, May, April, you know, who gives a damn. The X-H2 for next year will be all the performance of the X-T4, that 43 megapixel sensor, and it will certainly have the new battery in it that the X-T4 has. And when that happens on the X-T4, there are going to be a lot of people buy that camera. Knowing that I essentially know, it is undeniable that that's what the X-H2 is going to be. Even knowing what I know about the X-H2, that doesn't in any way diminish my, you know, excitement for purchasing the X-T4. What the X-T4 is, a huge fan of the super soft mechanical shutter. You know, I really don't care about the vastly improved video capabilities. I do like the fact it's got a bigger battery. I like what they did. By the way, I told people before, all these tilty screens that exist on Nikons and of course on Fujifilm, that everybody was chirping, and still is chirping, about the fully articulating display on the X-T4. That type of screen, because it's not fed with a flexi-cable, you know, you can't see it here, but there's a flexi-cable that actually feeds the screen, is right down here. The fact that the fully articulating screens, like on the X-T4, are not fed with a flexi-cable means two things. The fully articulating screen is way more weather sealed than these are. There's actually a hole right here, even though there's a rubber gasket on the inside. I take cameras apart, I know what's underneath there. They're a lot less fragile than these are. They don't have a direct line to the main board like these do. So, think whatever you will. I actually like fully articulating screens, but they're way less fragile, more waterproof. They make for a tougher camera, actually, than these type of screens. Nikon uses these type that use a flexi cable that feeds the LCD and also feeds it power. Nikon uses them, Canon uses them, basically everybody uses, Sony uses them. Those fully articulating screens aren't fed that way. I mentioned that before in a video a couple weeks ago. That's important, and no one's mentioned that. Even if you hate the fully articulating screen on the X-T4, I actually love them. Most people did ask for that, so the people that are actually chirping about that on the internet are just, you know, a bunch of people that are never happy about anything. It's like, it's whatever it is, you know, it always upsets them. But I mean, that's the nature of the internet, right? But anyway, thanks for watching. So, We basically know what the XT2 is going to be. The XT2, excuse me. The XH2, excuse me. I got so many cameras on the brain, so. XH1 is a great camera. I'll never sell that XH1 camera. Still have one of my old XT2s. I would never sell my last remaining XT2, by the way. How many cameras do I have? Everybody has. So many cameras you got anyway, you fat, bald, tattooed monkey. Well, the answer is 16. 9 Fujifilm cameras and 6 Nikons. Yeah, 9 Fujifilm cameras and 6 Nikons. Yeah, what is that? 3 GFX cameras, XT2, X100V, X Pro 3, XT2, XT3, XH1. Yeah, there we go. Peace out, Girl Scout. Wait for it. Wait for it. Fujifilm.